like you become a one person show. You're building it. The world says. I think that plagued me so much. You're
Mm.
not enough. You're too much. You won't be anything.
How do you believe that you're going to be able to protect the purpose and the intent of your content, getting into a industry that is very easily manipulated?
Rise up, show up, do what you came to do. Do it right, do it well. That's the standard we pursue. Boss conversations, let's go.
What's good, everyone, and welcome back to Boss Conversations. On this evening, we have a very, very, very special guest. This person is, in my opinion, my favorite girl. But she is also the founder and CEO of JoyPark Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Joy Harris-Bird. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing on this lovely storming evening?
I am great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your platform.
Not a problem whatsoever. I'm so happy that you decided to come on board. So, once again, you are the founder and CEO of JoyPark Studios here in Houston, Texas. Can you please tell me what is JoyPark Studios to you, and how you actually got started with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Joy Park Studios is a media production company. We produce animation, films, and content creation. And I really got started back in 2023 when I started my animated series, California Dream. It was really then that I realized that I love the idea of not just reading my words, but seeing my words played out on screen. And I really had this idea of making a short film. And honestly, from there, it's really just been like one thing after the other. Things have really taken off with the company, and I'm just so excited about everything that's going on at Joy Park.
Absolutely. Very exciting times in the company. So, I know you just finished production on your new film, Alter. Can you kind of tell us your thought process about that particular film and just some insight about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So Alter is a sci-fi psychological thriller. And I had the idea. So my major in college was criminal justice. And I was really fascinated with the people who worked in the lab, who kind of, helped solve the cases. And you already know Law and Order SVU is my show. I love it. I watch it. And I was watching it one day and I really loved the idea of that interrogation. Like so much goes down in the interrogation room. And so I had this idea to create a sci-fi psychological thriller with everything kind of based in that room. And so I'm really excited about it. When we filmed it and we were looking at some of the shots, I'm like, man, this is going to be such a great film. And I believe people are going to be a little bit shocked because it's not your typical what you see from Joy Park Studios, but like everything that Joy Park Studios does, it has a deeper meaning and a bigger meaning and impact behind it. So I'm just so excited. I loved working with the cast and the crew, and I really can't wait for everyone to see it.
Absolutely. I can't wait for everybody to see it either. I'm very excited about what's about to happen with that particular project. So, before Alter, you actually had another film entitled Deliver Us. And so I actually want to talk about Deliver Us for a second, mainly because I know there's a powerful storytelling story behind it. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about Deliver Us as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Deliver Us is basically about grief. It's about the different ways that people process and deal with their grief. And so the idea for the film, with the both of us, we kind of went through a season where we just were losing our siblings. It seemed like back to back. Like it started, I lost my brother, then you lost your brother, and then I lost my sister. So we were kind of just in a season where grief had decided to just come in. We didn't invite it. It just kind of came in. So I remember when I sat down one day and I was thinking of a way that I can kind of put these feelings into film. I actually remembered at your brother's funeral, his wife. I remember we came in and everyone had viewed the body and we were all seated. And then she came in after us. And I remember she was just kind of like walking the floor and she was like clapping and praying and just kind of walking back and forth. And I remember in that moment, you could see the pain that she was going through, but it's almost like you could see that God was literally walking back and forth with her. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, this is deliverance. This is what it means when God says, I will be with you. I will always walk with you. And I wanted to portray that on screen for people who may not even believe in God. I wanted to bring God in a different angle to people to be able to relate to. So I remember when we were at the screening for Deliver Us, and someone actually came up to me who was a widow and was like, you don't know it, but this film healed something in me. I'm like, this is
Mm.
why we made it. And I'm like, it's so impactful. And I cannot wait to just share it with everyone and finally get it out to everyone that needs to see it because it's such a needed message.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When that actually happened, that was so surreal to me as far as when that person actually came up to you and said that. And so it actually ties in with the very next question that I have. At what point did you start to believe that the storytelling through film would actually begin to help heal people?
So basically, really, that was a big moment for me when she came up to me and said that. But it actually started with California Dream. I had so many people, they were like, oh my God, I love Uncle Reggie. I love California. I love the music. I love the storyline. They would DM me, that they would email me and say, please bring more episodes. Like they were really relating to the characters. And I think for someone, when you sit down and you do the character treatments and you're writing these scripts, and then people really start to resonate with what you're doing, I don't think there's any greater feeling. It's, at that point, it's not about awards. It's not about recognition. It's about, is my work actually making an impact? And I think that was really the moment because California Dream really took off more than I expected for it to take off. And it really
Yeah,
resonated with people. And I think that's really the moment that I realized that storytelling really can impact people all over the world.
absolutely. So my next question, you are really flowing in with the questions that I have. And no, we did not talk about any of these questions whatsoever. So I'm actually
Uh,
very excited. Um, at this point, Joy Park is so much more than just films and so much more than just content. At what point in your journey between California Dream, and we didn't even talk about your first film yet, which is Bloom. But to go from California Dream to Bloom to Deliver Us to Alter, at what point in this journey did you understand that Joy Park Studios is actually more than just making content?
Man, that is a really good question. Honestly, I think it really happened with Bloom because, when I did Bloom, I really didn't think it was going to take off the way that it did. I was kind of experimenting with filmmaking and with working with voice actors and working with filming all of the shots and the scenes that I needed. And the way it took off and the way people really resonated with the message, because it was a simple message, but I feel like it's a powerful message. And I think at
Yeah.
that point, I realized that Joy Park has the potential to be something even bigger, probably than even now that I realize. It has the potential to really create content and make film and do animation and make music and podcasts, whatever we really decide for it to be. I feel like it can be that. And I think that's just so amazing. Like when you start a business, of course you want to see it succeed, but when you actually start seeing the fruit of the work and the seeds that you planted starting to harvest, like there's really no greater feeling in being a business owner.
Hmm. Absolutely. So I totally agree. Joy Park is going to be a lot bigger than I believe we even realize is actually going to be. And we're not saying that, or at least I'm not saying that just because I'm a part of the company, but I'm actually saying that just looking on how it's actually blessing people and how people are actually talking about Joy Park with the things that we've done. And we still believe that we haven't even got started yet. So I'm very excited about the future of that company. Um, Speaking of Joy Park, my next question must be Bloom, which is your first film. It went on as, well, not went on as, but it actually won 4 film festivals, which is crazy because that's not the reason that we built, that we made Bloom. It was really just to really start and get our foot in the door as far as filmmaking, but it went on to create a buzz in itself and still getting a buzz. Not too long ago, we were just in Austin, um, premiering it in Austin, Texas. So kind of tell me the story behind Bloom, because I know Bloom, though it was your first film, I know it has some significant um, things that embody what you went through as a young woman. So just kind of talk about Bloom a little bit and go from there.
Yeah, so honestly, like Bloom, honestly, it is my story. When you look at the little girl, like I never even realized how much the little girl kind of even looks like me. And the very first line is the world says, and that's it. Like it doesn't even matter what she says. The world says. I think that plagued me so much with what everyone else always had to say. You're
Mm,
not enough. You're too much. You won't be anything. You'll never do anything more than what you're doing right now. You haven't changed. You're not, there were so many different thoughts and opinions that were circling like kind of like around me, and it had just got to the point where I had to dig deeper within myself. I had to get to my garden and I had to plant myself so that I could bloom. And that's really where the idea of Bloom came from. Just realizing that I am enough. I am who God called me to be. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about me. It only matters that I know who I am and whose I am. And once I realized that, things really started to open up for me. So when I was writing Bloom, I really wanted it to be like a poetic short film. I wanted the visuals to be really beautiful. And I wanted the viewers to see what it looks like when you plant a seed and when that seed starts to grow. Like, I feel like I've kind of always been fascinated with gardens and with planting seeds and watching them grow. I don't like gardening, but I love the idea of the garden. And I'm actually reading a book right now called The Garden Within by Dr. Anita Phillips. And just that
nice.
whole analogy of the garden has always been something that fascinated me. So I was really drawn to seeing if I could portray that on film and seeing if people would really resonate with that. And it seems like everyone really did. I'm really just so humbled and grateful by all the feedback that I've received over Bloom. And it's only a 3-minute film. There was some negative feedback. Oh, it's too short. Okay, it's a short film. So yeah, it is short, but I feel like the meaning is so impactful. Like get to your garden, plant yourself and bloom. Bloom anyway.
Absolutely. Yes, it is a short film. It is only 3 minutes, but the impact that 3 minute short film had, like I said, not that we base it on any type of awards, but the fact that it still won 4 film festivals means that it was still powerful enough to get through to someone. And so
Yeah.
we're just excited and happy about that. So my next question must be Joy Park Studios. As a business, can you please tell the people something that most people believe in business is true, but in fact is not? So what is a myth that most people think about business?
You're building it, you're making all the shots, you're making all the calls, you're the financer, like you're everything for your business. And so when you're first starting out, until you get people around you who can help you build your vision. So I think the hardest part is just realizing that it's not going to be easy initially. You're going to have to put in a lot of work. You're going to have to put in a lot of long nights. Like when I was creating California Dream, I would be up early and I would stay up late. I was doing everything, almost everything for the show. I was writing it, doing the voices, I was animating it, I was writing the songs, and it's a lot of work that goes into it. But man, when you are passionate about what you're doing, as tired as you feel, you still have the drive to keep going because you know that there's something bigger than you that you're working for. So I would think like anyone who is a business owner, like if you are in that grind, like please keep going. Like you have no idea what your business can mean to someone else.
Absolutely. And it's so true. Do you feel that people in business, well, let me rephrase that. Do you feel that people that are not in business look at those that are in business and think that that's the way to go? And the reason I say that is because a lot of people believe that, like you just said, when you start a business, hey, um, the paperwork is the hard part, and it's really not. There's so much things that has to go after that. Do you think people who desire to be in business truly understand the risks that are in it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I know I didn't. For sure. I definitely didn't. I think some may, there may be some people who have researched it and, weighed the pros and the cons of starting a business. But I think it would be beneficial if a lot of future business owners could take some type of course or something to prepare them for what they're getting ready to get into. Because, I mean, you really need a plan. Like, okay, you want to start a business, that's great. But what's your plan? Like after you have your LLC or whatever structure you want your business to be, what is your next step? You have to have a business plan. And I think that's where a lot of business owners are really lacking is that they don't have a plan. They have an idea, but they don't really have any plan to execute that idea. So definitely I feel like a lot of people don't really know. They're just like, okay, I'm going to start my business. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to start making money and it's going to go well, but that's just not the case. Like you have to have a plan and you have to have structure to your business.
Yes, you do. Amen to that. So,
Right. King of structure right there.
listen, but so here's my next question. With the particular business that you do have, being in film, it is so important that the message of the content that you are creating stays the message in the content that you're creating. So my question would be, how do you believe that you're going to be able to protect the purpose and the intent of your content, getting into a industry that is very easily manipulated?
Yeah, like man, keeping God first. I feel like people say that, like, oh, I'm gonna keep God first, but they don't know keeping God first, meaning that before I write one script, before I get on any set, I'm sitting before God. I'm making sure I'm hearing Him clearly. I'm making sure I'm praying and doing my devotion, and that I'm really letting Him guide, and order my steps because the Word says that He'll give you wisdom if you ask for it, but you have to be in a place to ask for it. Like you have to sit still sometimes before him. And I think that's what's most important. And also realizing that I don't want to compromise my values. The money will be great. Yes, absolutely. You want to make money. What business owner doesn't want to make money, but not at the risk of my own soul. So I think just making sure I stay before God and then also having a good group of people around me. You always want to keep people around you who will keep you grounded. Like my mom is going to keep me grounded. Like she's going to make sure I stay where I need to stay. Like I'm not going to get, too too out there. She going to make sure she bring me back down where I need to be. And having you
Absolutely.
like my sister, my brother Emmanuel, like he's someone else that really encourages me and supports me in everything that I'm doing, and just having other people around you that will cover you in prayer and make sure that you stay grounded and so you can complete the work that you have to do.
Yes, absolutely. So that actually leads me into my next question, the importance of having a team, especially in this industry. Can you kind of talk about the importance of having a strong team around you? Um, I know for specifically for Deliver Us, for the most part, from Deliver Us to Alter, the majority of the people are the same, which was really cool because we kind of understood how each other flowed. And so just kind of talk about the importance of having a team, specifically in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important. And, when we went to the Storyteller Film Conference that was here in Houston, and we went to see Courtney Glaudet, and we saw his film, his short film, Old Gray Mare. And he was on stage afterwards. And I think someone was asking him, kind of about how he was able to break into the industry and like what he did before he broke into the industry. And I remember he told this story about how he really just had a small crew of people that just really rocked with him, and they were creating these films and all these things together. And he really just kind of stressed the importance of finding your people and finding your crew. And I think everywhere that he's went since then, he's taken them with him. And I kind of want to do the same thing. Like we found a group of people for Deliver Us that really just got behind the vision and they were ready to rock with us, good or bad, whatever we were doing. They were like, we want to support you. And so as Joy Park Studios continues to go up, I'm going to take them. If they want to go, I'm going to take them as high as they can go. I want to see them in the industry doing and living out their dreams because they believed in my dream when it was just still a little seed. So who am I not to take them along once it blooms? So I think the importance of really finding a crew that believes in you and that supports you is so important, especially in the film industry, because there are people who want to take advantage of you, who want to take your idea. And there's just so much different things going on in this industry. So you want people around you who really support you and will push you to go towards your vision.
Absolutely. And that was so good, which leads me actually into my next question. For those people who are watching you and they are inspired, um, I'm just going to say inspired because I almost said something else.
Oh
Um,
no.
no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Don't do
But
that.
for those who are inspired by what you do you have a message for those young women or young men or just people in general that's in the industry or in the business that are inspiring to do something that you are doing? Do you have a message for them?
I think honestly, the main message is I think it's great to be inspired because I'm inspired by others. I'm inspired by Shonda Rhimes, Tyler Perry, Ava DuVernay. I'm inspired by them, but I think in that inspiration, make sure you don't lose your authentic voice. Like make sure that you're not trying to take exactly what they're doing verbatim. It's okay to be inspired, but then use that to build out your vision and your dream. Just go for it. You know what I mean? Like if you want to have like we have our digital circle of people that we watch, that's great. But just go towards your dream and really just build it out and do it your way. That's really the best thing to do. Do it your way, do it on your terms.
Yes, all of that. So two more questions real quick. Joy Park Studios is a thriving company. We are already in our second project, which we spoke of earlier, which is Alter. Is there anything that's coming in the future that you would like to tell the audience about?
Yeah, so Joy Park is going to be filming a mockumentary vertical series. It's a comedy called I Just Work Here. We'll be filming that in September. Of course, we are rebooting California Dream, and we're going to be working with another animation company. And I'm so excited about that because for years I was doing the animation to the best of my ability, but now we're going to be able to work with an actual animation studio. So I feel like the stories and everything will just be brighter, and we're casting for voice actors, and I just feel like everything's going to be just so much better. And I'm so excited because California Dream was the very first thing that I did. And I love writing music and creating music, and I love the characters of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm trying to wonder if I want to give them a sneak peek. Because it's your podcast, I'm going to give a sneak peek. JoyPark Studios will be filming our very first feature film in 2027. And I'm so excited. It's a rom-com. So our website is joyparkstudiostx.com. And then all of our social media is Joy Park Studios TX. So please follow on Instagram. We're trying to build up our YouTube. So follow us on YouTube to stay up to date with everything that Joy Park Studios has going on, because we are bringing the heat. We are green lighting ourselves, and we're going after everything that God said we can have.
So you heard it here first. Rom-com coming 2027 from Joy Park Studios. And I just want to thank everybody for joining in. This was such a great podcast. Once again, thank you to Joy Harris Bird for dropping in. And everything that we do, you already know, do business and do business well. Until next time.